just trust that it's gonna give you that lo-fi magic. But yes, I have missed making these videos. I have absolutely wanted to, but this is just the first time I've been at home alone on my own at night time, and it's all aligned and it feels good. So today I actually want to talk about my new career. Okay, so it's an extension of my existing career, but it is evolving and we're moving into new territory, new industries. So I have spoken in the past, I think, about my career. So, bit of backstory: for the last 5 years, I've been working for myself as an embodiment facilitator. So, what does that mean? So, I actually started my career after my daughter was born. I actually became a birth doula, and what that is to be emotional, spiritual, physical support for a birthing person. Okay, so you're not the medical support, you're not a midwife, but you're a support person, and there is still so much that you're able to give a birthing person outside of medical care. There's so much. And of course, usually, partners may not know that much about what to do, and also you're also there helping the partner and caring for the partner, and like you're an extra set of hands, which I just think is so important and so amazing. Anyway, that's how I started my career. And I did work for a doula as a bit. The only thing that I found challenging was the lifestyle of being on call and already having my own child. And yeah, constantly like not really being able to schedule. I know that around this entire month, a client of mine is going to go to labor. So I did find that challenging. And I actually started working with birthing people to help them connect to their bodies before being in labor, before giving birth. And so they have this connection with themselves and with their bodies that they can draw from and call upon when they are in the throes of labor. So that was a way that I started to still work with pregnant people, and to support them, but not having to be at the birth. And then it just kind of evolved from there, and I did start working with all kinds of people. I mean, at that point, it was mostly women I was working with when I first started my business in 2019. And yeah, it really took on a life of its own. It was so beautiful. I had a little bungalow at the back of my house, and I would make it was like not the nicest, like there was nothing fancy about it. It was a dingy little shed, but I made it feel so homely and beautiful and nourishing, and like candles everywhere, and like it just smelled nice, it felt nice. It had like these beautiful rugs, these beautiful couches, like it was just so nice. Once you were in there, you were transported, right? And I loved going in there, and I would do my practices in there every day during like COVID. But yeah, I would have clients come, I guess pre-COVID, 2019, I would have clients come, and I would, work with people who were feeling disconnected from their bodies, and wanting to feel that sense of connection. And through that period of time, I found that most people were coming to me for, I'm not sure what words I can use on YouTube, but I guess I'll just be honest. People come to me for issues around their sexuality. Now, I was like, look, I never marketed myself as helping people with their sexuality, or sensuality or anything like that, but this is what people kept being drawn to me for. Like, this is what people wanted from me. So I was like, okay, all right, I'm hearing this. And I did do a course, like a 12-month course in a self-pleasure modality, and I really learned about this practice. Another practice I used as well with my clients was the nonlinear movement method, which I also did a teacher training in, and I would draw from different practices and modalities to help people to really build a relationship with emotions and their identity, like all sorts of things. But yes, I did move into a more sensual, which to be honest, like for me, what sensuality means is to be connected to the sensations of your body, right? So it doesn't even necessarily have anything to do with sex. Like that can absolutely be a beautiful byproduct of it, but it's about intimacy with yourself, right? And so I did really focus on sensual embodiment for a lot of my career the last few years, and that's been really beautiful. I've in that time run so many online courses, had so many one-on-one sessions with clients. I've traveled around Australia running workshops. I've ran a retreat in Bali for a week last year. I've like been on so many podcasts. Like I'm really, really proud of my career. However, last year, July last year, when my Instagram got taken down, a lot of Instagrams got taken down around that time. People working in the industry that I do, because just using terms on Instagram like intimacy, sensuality, body parts, like and it was actually pretty traumatic, to be honest. It just kept getting taken down, and I felt like everything I'd built, everything I'd worked for was like being ripped away from me without my consent, without my control. And it made me feel really out of control and very disillusioned by how I was running my business, and it made me reassess everything. And within that, I did, it's I don't know, it's just it created this disconnect, and I've been in a really big process ever since. And I have still been working in my business, but definitely not as full on as I was in previous years. I've also really incorporated working with queer people, and having that as like a specialty and a special interest of mine. But yeah, I've run a course a few times now called Queer Body, working with queer people to help them connect with their queer bodies, which feels like really, really exciting and a beautiful evolution. But anyway, so I've been feeling really disillusioned, right? And I was in that for about 6 months, and a friend came to stay with me, and she actually, so I met her through the self-pleasure training. She was also a student there, and I remember seeing her on the Zoom call and thinking, I'm gonna meet her in person one day, which is so wild because I live in Australia, she lives in Northern Ireland. I was like, what? How? And when I actually first met her was that she was a participant on my retreat in Bali. I was so honoured. She's so beautiful. I love her. She's become a dear friend now. And we spent time together in Bali as well, because obviously, I already knew her and I was interested in connecting and meeting her. And then, she was visiting Australia January this year. So that's like 9 months ago now. But it was about 6 months after, this big death in my business had happened, this big transmutational process. And she came and I told her where I was at, and she, this is beautiful because she's someone who's worked with me, right? She's been on my retreat. She spent, day and night with me on that retreat in my practices, being guided by me, just in it. And so she, really believes in me. It was just so beautiful to have her reflections being like, you cannot give up, you have to keep going. And she offered me a really beautiful invitation to look into intimacy coordination. So to become an intimacy coordinator in film and TV, because she works in the film industry, she works in costume, I believe. And she said to me, oh my god, Naomi, you would be amazing as an intimacy coordinator. I think you could be so successful in that. I think you'd be just so great in that role. And so I started learning about it, and the more I learned about it, the more excited I got and hopeful, and it just felt so much drive and motivation for my business, and I just lost it. And so this sparked something for me. And the thing is, the background for me in terms of like film and TV is, growing up, I just always assumed I would be an actor when I left high school because I was obsessed with drama all throughout high school. I went to multiple different schools and I was always like the teacher's favorite. No matter what school, I was always like super into it, like just like really, really into drama. English and drama were subjects at school that I just loved, and everything else I really struggled with because I just couldn't pay attention. And now I do think that's undiagnosed ADHD. Continues to be undiagnosed, but you know, obviously I have my theories these days. Anyway, so I was really good at drama. Like I look back now and I really grieve that, you know, I didn't have a support around me or parents who were interested in my interests. Anyone who could be like, Naomi, you've got a big interest in this, you really like this, you know, you're really good at it, like let's explore this. But instead, you know, and this is the story for another time, and if you would like me to talk about this more in another video, I can. But basically I moved out of home when I was 16 and have been surviving ever since. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm 33, I'm doing a lot of reflecting on all of that, on my life in general, and processing, and you know, working through it in therapy, and reflecting and grieving a lot. But basically, I guess it didn't feel possible for me to actually become an actor out of high school because I needed to survive, and I definitely never let go of it. Like I always thought about it, and I always like would go and do drama classes, or acting classes, and you know, sign up to things here or there whenever I could afford them. And you know, it's something I did really grieve and had to let go of at some point. Well, actually, I didn't let go of it. Someone just keeps walking by outside. A psychic to tell me when I was, how old would I have been? 23 in New York City. It was my 23rd birthday, and I went to a psychic, and she did say, "Oh, you want to be an actor so bad, don't you?" Oh my god, I'm like, I cry so easily. You just want to be an actor? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, you will. One day you will. And so I kind of took that as like, it's not the time. But I remember being in New York and like staying in Bushwick in an Airbnb with like surrounded by like creatives and actors and just being like, oh my god. Anyway, I digress. Yes, always wanted to be an actor, so I always imagined myself being in film and TV. All through high school, I was obsessed with certain directors, and every movie I loved, I would watch the director's commentary. I would watch all of the, you know, spatial features on all the DVDs, and like I was, you know, really obsessed with like fucking brilliant films like that are still my favorite films. Like when I was 16 and 33, like my favorite films are still the same. I really stand by my taste as a teenager. Like I was really, really into it. And anyway, it's an industry I've always wanted to work in since I was a teenager, and I have worked in it a few times over the course of my life. I've been an extra like several times, and I've also been on reality TV as a contestant. And so I've probably been on sets like maybe 5 or 6 times over my life for like a full 12-hour day, you know, and that's obviously not much, but every time I was like over those 5 or 6 times, maybe 7 times, I felt this electric feeling. Like I felt so alive when I would see the crew. I would be on set, and it wasn't about what I was doing. I was doing fuck all, like, but I would love like the energy, the symbiosis between the crew, and like and the cast, and like watching the people acting when I was an extra. Like I loved everything about it, and I was like, I want so actors, but the ones I was friends with, they had wealthy parents, and their parents paid for their rent, and they could just go to auditions, they could just go to keep saying drama, acting classes, and and I just wasn't in that position. Although I'm sure there are actors out there who have like fucking made their own way, but I can look back now and see like that things were really hard for me. They were, plus with all my undiagnosed yeah, lots of things. It's like reflecting back on your life in your 30s. It's like there's so much there. Anyway, so what is an intimacy coordinator? Almost 17 minutes in. I have not yet gotten to what my actual career, what the course is, which is great. It's fine. I love that. I love that it's going to be a long one. So, okay. So, what is an intimacy coordinator? An intimacy coordinator is, it's a relatively new role in the film and TV industry. It has been kind of birthed as a result of the Me Too movement, kind of a byproduct of it, and sort of since then. And so it's become more and more a requirement in recent years. And it is essentially someone who is there. There's a few different roles, right? Okay, so one role, the intimacy coordinator, is to advocate for the performers when they're doing an intimate scene, right? So you're doing a one-on-one session with the actors, finding out what their boundaries are, what they're consenting to, what levels of nudity they're comfortable with, what kind of you're really figuring all this out, right? And then when you're on set, you're able to be that person who can really advocate for them, because that can be really intimidating while they're on set in an intimate, vulnerable space and doing the scene. So often, I'm sure in the past, actors have had their boundaries crossed and have, gone above what they really intended to when they kind of came into the scene. And that can be quite traumatizing, and triggers can come up, and it's very sensitive and it's very vulnerable. So essentially you're being the doula, right? Like I was a doula for the birthing person, now I'm a doula for the performer. It's so beautiful. And another role of the intimacy coordinator is to liaise between the performers, producer, director, all of the different, like wardrobe as well, all of the different departments, and you're communicating on behalf of and making sure there's clear communication between everyone on the intimate scene. So you're having meetings with them all, and you're kind of like speaking on behalf and speaking to, and just making sure that it's all, everyone's on the same page, and also making sure that the vision of the director is going to come through, right? So within the boundaries and the consent of the performers, but it's like still keeping in mind the vision of the director. So like really like a beautiful balance of them all. And then the last, and you also, this kind of comes in to all of that, but you're also, in terms of wardrobe, when I mentioned liaising with wardrobe, the garments that performers will wear, to modesty garments, to cover areas of their body that they don't want shown, etc. And then the last role, although there are so many roles, of course I'm sure you could write a whole list, but is to choreograph intimate scenes if the director requires it. I'm sure some directors have got their vision and that's what they're doing, but what's really cool is the intimacy coordinator can actually choreograph an intimate scene like as if it's a dance, just like you would choreograph a fight scene, and it really gives the performer the freedom to like not have to think, like even though you would think it's like better with more freedom to just like just do it in the moment, but it's like to choreograph something that feels really genuine, authentic, and they can just lean into that and it's not clumsy and awkward, but it's like, you know, it's actually art, you know, and it's been, it's this creation, like co-creation between everyone, but the intimacy coordinator is trained in this and can really help to like bring these scenes to life and do make them feel really genuine and authentic and sexy. And yeah, so those are a few of the key roles of an intimacy coordinator. Now, I'm really excited about this because, like I said, I've always wanted to work in this industry, but also, I mean, I've been working with people for years now on their bodies, right? Especially sensual connection, and also working as a doula. So all of those kind of like skills and experiences and knowledge that I have from the work I've already been doing, and then transferring it to the film and TV industry feels so exciting and feels really right to me, and it's giving me new life for sure. It really is. So I applied for a course, an incredible course, by a woman who runs it. She was the intimacy coordinator on Euphoria, White Lotus, The Affair, The Albert Gen Q, like even more and more and more. Like, she was one of the first intimacy coordinators in LA, and now she just teaches. But a lot of really successful intimacy coordinators have been taught by her. And so like over 100 people apply every year to do her course, and I think like, I don't remember how many, 15 or something get chosen, and I applied and I was like, how am I gonna get this, right? I don't have any experience in film and TV, and it's kind of a requirement, right? But I'm so lucky, like synchronicity, so many synchronicities, but one of them being that for the first time ever, and maybe the only time ever, not only is this organisation that this woman runs doing their usual international stream, but also an Australia/New Zealand stream. So I was in a pool of people from Australia and New Zealand, and then there's another pool of people from everywhere else. So I got really, really, really lucky. And the crazy thing is, right, so, okay, well, firstly, this was like so intense to apply for. I had to do a really extensive application, then I had to do an interview, and I didn't find out for like 3 or 4 months whether I got in. And it's a really expensive course as well. I didn't find out for months if I got in, and then when I did, well, obviously I was just like so shocked and so stoked. And the course started, like we're in week 5 now. When the course started, like I was like buzzing, so excited, and then I got on, and like literally everyone else in there has like so much experience in film and TV. I'm literally the only one who has never worked in film and TV. Like, it's so intimidating because obviously, like, well, it is supposed to be a requirement, right? But obviously in my case, I just like have to get experience. But they obviously saw something in me that was like, you know, there's like, you know, a big thing they do look for is emotional intelligence. So it's like, if you've either got emotional intelligence or you've got a lot of experience in film and TV. And there are even several intimacy coordinators in my group, because there are obviously existing intimacy coordinators in Australia and New Zealand, and they want to do this course because it's coming to our region. So yeah, it is intimidating that they've all got all of this experience and I don't, but I've also been like felt like such an expert in other themes. Like the first 2 weeks, actually no, the first week we did boundaries and consent, and these are 4-hour classes that we're just doing on these topics. And then the second and third call we did gender and sexuality, which does feel like something that I know a lot about. I mean, I identify as gender diverse, my partner is trans, I am queer, you know, like I do, like, it's a special interest of mine, and I'm surrounded by it. It's in my everyday life, so I didn't, but they'll feel confident in, you know, a lot of other topics that we're going to get to, which we haven't yet. After those, we did microaggressions, 4 hours of microaggressions last week. I love this. It's also like such great personal development. And then we did sexual harassment this week. So from next week, we're actually going to start like getting into the industry, like film and TV industry, working as an IC, like really learning. But I love that we started with really like, you know, understanding queerness, understanding microaggressions and racism and transphobia and sexual harassment and consent and boundaries, like what all these things mean, like really making sure we have the foundations of understanding that to a certain level. And then what does it mean? And then how do we become an IC? So I will talk in future videos about my journey as an IC, intimacy coordinator. So far I do not have any experience. I'm going to learn so much more about the role as I continue my studies. We are studying until like January next year, so it's 17 weeks of classes online, and then we are doing a 5-day choreography training in New Zealand, in Auckland, in February. So that is so exciting, so exciting. I just need to renew my passport, book flights, book an Airbnb, but I will make it happen. So yeah, it all feels really exciting, and I'm holding a lot of hope in my heart around this, and it'll be beautiful to actually do this work alongside my business, and I hope you know, feeling more inspired as well to create more. But I am in a very reflective period where I'm just wanting to learn and take in. But yeah, anyway, if you have any questions about the role, please ask, and I'll maybe chuck them in another ramble that I do. But yeah, I've been wanting to do this video for ages and explain it to you all for ages because I'm just so excited and it feels really right and it just makes sense to me. But yes, I guess you'll follow my journey over the years. I'm sure I'll keep making videos inconsistently over the years and updating you all my life, so stay tuned and make sure you're following if you're not already. But yes, I love you all so much, and I hope